Hi, this is Enthusiastic Steve, and welcome to another one of my enthusiastic videos. Well, you may have noticed the image behind me. Well, today is July the 21st, and this is a little tribute to the brave men of the Apollo missions that 54 years ago landed on the moon. Got me a little NASA t-shirt on it as well. It is a little bit warm in here today for that. Yeah, brave men 54 years ago. Don't know where the time's gone. That's my little tribute there. Now, today we're going to look at a very compact, very well built, good quality, unusual radio. There are a few of these about, but this is the first one I've actually seen and the first one I've managed to get my hands on. It's a Superstar Lord. Not to be confused with the Superstar of other radio ranges. This is the Superstar Lord. This radio, because of its size and build quality and functions, is really punching above its weight. The Superstar Lord transceiver is a multi-band 11 meter and 10 meter radio. It comes from a Spanish brand name, and when it arrives in the country and you turn it on, it does actually go straight into the Spanish channels. With a quick flick of a switch and an on-off, you're back in. You can choose then from other various modes, including the UK frequencies, and you can also do a very simple modification on it, which puts it into an export mode, which gives you frequency coverage on AM and FM from 25 up to 30 megahertz. So you can use this on the 10 meter band on the FM and AM allocations. It's a very versatile radio. It's very compact, and it's the quality of build and the internals that got me interested. So let's take a look at the Superstar Lord. Here it is in its lovely little box there, a nice little image on the top. It comes in two variants. There's the chrome and silver, or there's the black edition. This Lord there was a Lord and the Lord 2. This is the straightforward Lord. Lovely chrome bezel, silver front. Very few controls, you don't need them. It does everything internally. Very nice little radio. Now, this particular radio came from the UK 4x4 Centre some years ago now, and it comes with a set of instructions how to switch it to the UK channels. In the box, lovely packed, very well packed, microphone, bracket, knobs, and the actual radio itself. All simple, but very solidly constructed, and we'll see that shortly. I'm going to support this radio on the bench using those little rubber wedges that I showed in my one of my previous videos. Very handy things indeed. There we have it, the Superstar Lord 40 channel radio. It's got a lovely little chrome metal bezel around the front, and it's got little curved edges, which gives it a little bit of a classic shape, classic design. It's quite an old style radio, well, in looks anyway, but internally it's very, very modern, considering it's probably 10 or 20 years old now. This is like I say, a very stylish and unusual little radio. Compact as well. Look, you can see by my hand there how small this actual radio is compared to some of the more modern day radios, which are a lot larger. Great looks. Now, the other thing about this radio is it is very well constructed. The tuner is a proper tuner. Listen to this. Very, very nice indeed. It's got quality fills, no cheap components used in there. And the old switches as well, all lovely and smooth. They run lovely as well. So again, I don't think they've saved money on any of the components. They've done a very, very good job in build. The actual edges, the joints, etc., are all very solid. On the back of the radio, again, not a lot there to see, but you do have, unusually, for this type of cost radio, you've actually got a plug-in S meter. So if you've got a more accurate S meter, you can actually plug this one in. Maybe if are an amateur radio operator on 10 meters, you may have a S meter, and you can plug straight in there and give you a more accurate reading than the one on the front. But that apparently is also a calibrated meter on these radios, and they do work fairly well. The standard microphone that comes with the radio is quite a nice looking radio. It's quite solid. Shiny little plastic on the outside there. Not sure how long that lasts in the real world before it gets a bit scuffed. But it's got a lovely marked up there with Superstar Lord. And no controls on the back top. It's not a 4-pin one. It is an actual fact. Let me just show you how many pins this is. Not quite the standard Cybernet type plug-in one. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 6-pin, there we go, 6-pin microphone adapter. Just take that into account if you are going to looking at replacing the microphone. But really, this microphone does a pretty sound job. Now, like I said, this is a multi-norm, multi-country radio. So when you actually turn it on, you just turn it straight on from the volume control. You just turn the squelch there to, it's got an automatic squelch mode as well, but I'd suggest it only works best on a stronger signals. So there we go, we turn it on and automatically it comes on to channel 19. But unfortunately it's not on the UK channels if that's what you want. If you're in Europe, absolutely fine. Comes onto the old style mid block, 26.9 to 27.4 megahertz. Now you change this fairly simply. Basically you can turn the radio off. You've got a AM and FM button on the front, but you've also got a center position. What you do, you put the control into the center position, you turn the radio on, it comes up with E5 Spain. Okay, then all you can do is you just turn the control knob, Poland, and you've got EC, Euro, etc., Germany, and you've got all various countries there. It's all in the instructions. And if you go to U for United Kingdom, switch that to FM, you are now on the FM bands 1 to 40 UK legal channels. The only problem is, as soon as you turn it off, you will go back to the Spanish ones. That is one of the little downfalls of this radio, but a minor hindrance, to be honest. Right, let me just go to a clear channel. Channel 20, I believe I checked just now, was clear. There's a little bit of sideband activity in the distance in the background. Now, when, like many of these radios, when they're imported into UK or Europe from manufacture, they are kind of slightly detuned, let's say. Now, they're advertised as a 4-watt radio. In reality, most of these radios that come into the UK will be under 3.6 watts. Even as low as about 1.8 or 1.9 watts. Yes, they can still sell them legally within spec at that low output. What, as I've said this before in some videos, what they used to do is the manufacturer would bring them in, the customs would check the radios, they would do a sample, and if they over-modulated or over-deviated or over-modulated on AM, deviated on FM, or the power was over the rated, above and beyond the 4 watts, they would be confiscated. Not just that radio, but the whole basic container load. The company would lose a lot of money. So they tend to send them out of factory, detuned slightly, and then they arrive in the UK or other countries. They get distributed to the sales companies who should their workshops being radio shops, etc., should basically give them a quick service, a quick tune up, make sure they're on frequency, and power is as close to 4 watts as they can get. Deviation set as well, but they don't do this. They continue to sell them out, and you end up with a radio which is working only at 75% of what it's capable of doing. Okay, I've set the radio up into my little power meter, and I've also connected a dummy load. Remember, if you're ever going to do any power measurements, etc., don't use the antenna. You're always going to get a little bit of reflection. You'll never get a true indication of what the radio is doing. So I've attached this now to a dummy load, pressing to transmit, and there we go. It's 3.2 watts. It's not bad, 3.1, 3.2 watts. But I think we can probably improve upon that slightly. Now I'm also going to just check the frequency readout. Now my little frequency counter here is not a scientific one. It's a frequency counter. I know, comparing it to other accurate radios, it's 0.2 off at the moment. So I'm gone up to channel 39 at the moment. So let's see what we've got. We've got 27980.2, which equates to 981. We should be reading 981. Yeah, we should be reading 981 on there. So it gives it 0.25 afterwards. So we're just slightly off frequency, but very, very close. It's a little Superstar Lord, an unusual little radio, but it's doing well. You're crisp and clear this morning. I believe, did you say you're, can you confirm your location? Did you say Glasgow?
No, I'm 108 Division, Edinburgh. I'm about 10 miles south-east of Edinburgh. A little place, Midlothian, it's called. Yeah, you're coming back here very clear. Radio 5, signal 7, nice steady signal. Seems to be very good today for the propagation. Yeah, you're doing the trip good.
Yeah, thank you very much there, Joe. My name's Steve. I'm running a Superstar Lord radio, and I'm situated between Portsmouth and Southampton in the little town of Fareham. You say you're central Scotland, back to you?
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, I'm in the city of Glasgow. I'm in the country, about near the city of Glasgow, about 40 kilometres north of the capital, Edinburgh, and I'm running a 7300. A 7300, and the microphone is a Sugar mic, 30 Des mic, and the antenna is a homemade Moxon. About 5 metres off the ground.
So that's a few contacts even before I managed to get the case off. I actually just plugged the radio in to do the tests, and we're getting stations coming through there from Scotland and local as well, and we made a few contacts there, and the radio seems to be working out the box. It's just slightly off frequency, and the power's slightly down, and probably the deviation slightly low as well. So, but it works absolutely perfect as it does. So we can just make a few little tweaks before we put it away back in the box, or use it again later. So I'm just going to take the covers off, and we can see what the internals are like. Right, the first thing you notice when you take the cover off is the actual case is a one-piece unit. It actually unscrews from the actual rear. There are 2 screws, and the whole cover slides off like a nice sleeve, with the speaker mounted on a separate bracket. Everything is enclosed within there. It's very well constructed, very nicely made indeed. Solid construction, nice and clean. No negatives there so far. So I'm just going to remove the cover for the speaker, and then we'll pop inside and make a quick couple of adjustments. So that's the screws off for the cover, and the speaker lifts out. Now this is a nice thing. Look at this. Look at the length of the cable they give you. You can actually place that down without having to desolder or disconnect anything. Let's have a quick look inside this radio. As you can see, it's got some solid construction there going on. It's got filters in it, crystal filters, phase lock loop. It's a very modern radio and very well made. That circuit board is fiberglass construction, and it's very neat and tidy. Now, to ensure you've got the right power output on here, or the best you can achieve, or the nearest to 4 watts, it's very simple. Just a matter of just tweaking the pot there, next pot along, and that pot there. And once you've done that, and you think you've achieved your maximum, down here somewhere, I can see it now, there's a little pot there, and that's your high power pot. Just need to tweak that gently, and hopefully you can achieve nearer 4 watts. So we'll give it a go. Now again, I'm looking, I've got this going through a dummy load, so we're just going to tweak these slightly. Apologies for the noisy seagulls outside, but this is a little bit tricky because I'm trying to hold the PTT button as well as so with some careful adjustments, I've managed to achieve a 3.8 watts on this meter. Like I say, this is not a scientific meter. It is a good quality meter, and all meters will give you a slightly different reading. And as other people on the old YouTube radio say during their servicing, if you put this on the Zatagi meter, this is probably 6 or 7 watts, possibly. So I'll use this same meter all the time for all my adjustments, and 3.8 is respectable. Next, the adjustment for deviation, and this can be found on this pot here. The deviation is recommended to be not more than about 2.4, 2.5 kilohertz wide. Out of the box, these radios can be as low as about 1.8, 1.9. The result of this is your actual voice sounds a little bit thin and a little bit quiet. To make these measurements, I have a meter which does both modulation for AM and deviation on FM. There you can see a close-up of the scale. And I can see and hear the results on my Malachite SDR, a useful bit of kit. And since I've now got the power up to 3.8 watts, need to adjust the meter on the front to reflect the same. So a slight adjustment of this pot, and there we go, roughly about 3.84 watts shown on the meter. So that's the Superstar Lord multi-band radio there. Just tweaked up the power as best as it can to give it a good little tune. It's putting out approximately 3.8 watts now, a little bit of improvement on what was there before. The deviation on the FM has widened a little bit as well, because that was a little bit on the thin side, and the frequency has been adjusted. It's only a few hertz off now, but with the crystal and everything and the filtering, it's the age as well. The filters do tend to drop off with age, but it's about there. It's not going to make any difference on air whatsoever in receive or transmit. So there you go, Superstar Lord. All the best from Enthusiastic Steve. As you see, continuity problem here. Got a different top on. I am sweating in here. It's got a bit hot with the monocle on and other bits and pieces I'm doing. So it's got a bit warm. I had to change the thick top for something a little bit lighter. But that's the Superstar Lord 40 channel multi-country radio. Not everybody's cup of tea, but if you're into that, I mean, I was just picking up just now a repeater from Sweden, of all places, coming through on there. So lovely and clear. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Please consider ticking the old like button or clicking the old subscribe button. Again, a lot of people think you've got to pay money to you don't. Subscribe just basically means there's another. They should rename it. YouTube should call it notification. So when there's a new video, I've not been doing as many as I like to this year, because I've had a few. Unfortunately, I've had a few little health issues which I'm dealing with. So I've been a little bit busy and preoccupied. So I will get round to putting more videos out. I want to do one on meters. A lot of people ask me about deviation and modulation and trying to explain it. So I've got them various meters lined up, which I'm probably going to work through and try and put over in layman's terms, if I can, the difference, etc. And the problems with the 11 meter band and deviation is the fact that amateur radio, a lot of people use amateur radio equipment on the band, and of course it's wider deviation than what the standard CB radios were set up as. So you get a little bit of sometimes a mismatch of audio, and that's one of the big problems. Anyway, we can explain all that in another video. So thank you again for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. This has been Enthusiastic Steve. A bit hot and now. So that's another little radio tweaked up, tuned to put with my other collection of radios I have here, and they will all get used. I'll take them out mobile, etc., and they don't just sit there gathering dust. So all the very best. This has been Enthusiastic Steve. Just want to say 73s, everybody, take care, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye.
Charlie Tango 1193, 26 Charlie Tango 1193, Southwest West England, giving a call. 163 Romeo Charlie 337, hello my friend, you are 557 Zagreb is the capital city of Croatia. QSOs, I apologize, but propagation is going up and down, and 1-3 division is very, very strong, my friend. Okay, 7-3 to you and your whole family, my friend, and God bless you.